Thank you.
I was mostly here to speak about Amendment 6, but I was listening to the debate, and obviously I've been aware about the public commentary and discussion and so on about the bingo issue. What's clear for me is I'm in favour of increasing the amount that goes to charity to 25%. I think that makes all the sense in the world. I still don't quite understand why a maximum of 50% of the proceeds is down as going back to those who are playing bingo. Why can't that go up to, it's a maximum, so if the running costs can be done with 5%, well then why couldn't they, do you know what I mean, go up to 70%, could go back in proceeds to the players, and the 25% would still go to charity, and the running costs can be done on the 5%. Like, if it can be topped up in any case, why isn't the maximum higher? Perhaps the Minister could clarify that. And I think it's important when we're tackling this issue to distinguish between two different interest groups. One is the interests of those who play bingo, those who go and use it as a very important community outlet for people, which it's clear I'm absolutely on their side and against anything that would impact on their ability to play bingo. The second issue, and it is a separate group of interests, and we have to be aware of it, is the big bingo companies, which I accept that most of the bingos outside of the big cities aren't of that character. They don't go over the €5,000. But in Dublin, these are big corporations who have the money to hire PR companies and so on. And I think they have a separate interest to the players, and that interest is to minimise the amount of money that goes to charities, and therefore to maximise the amount of money that goes to profits. And I think we have to clearly take a stand against that. I'll just raise one point, because the Minister said it in response there in relation to the broader issue here, which is the Minister said that if someone has a gambling problem, well, then they're going to spend and spend and spend if they have an addiction problem. And I take that point. But the problem is that the government, in what it's proposing here, and yes, they've reduced it from 10 to 5, but is facilitating that. If you have a situation where you now have a maximum bet per game of €5, 800 times what the previous limit was, and as a previous deputy has referred to, you can potentially have a situation where multiple games can be played at one point in time. You could be playing 5 games at once. You could do 5 games a minute in the course of an hour. So you could, in the course of an hour, you could be doing €1,500, and people therefore, a huge amount of money very, very quickly, people going broke, people who have addiction problems. So I think that's wrong, what the Minister is proposing to do there. I agree with the reduction from 10 to 5, if 5 is better than 10, but I don't think 5 is the answer. And I think particularly that's the case when we have the highest gross gambling revenue per capita in Europe. We have up to 40,000 problem gamblers, and yet we have no dedicated gambling addiction treatment service. We've never had a gambling prevalence study, and there's no state agency dedicated to reducing gambling-related harm. I think this issue is being massively underestimated and not being tackled by the government. And we've just spoken about like an element of the interest that exists within gambling, and there's much bigger interests than the bingo companies, and they have, are making substantial profits in this country, and I think we shouldn't be facilitating the exploitation of people who have addiction problems, who are in a context of increased alienation, a community fragmentation, poor mental health, the lack of government investment and supports for people, that being filled in some cases with an addiction and problem gambling. Thanks.
Thank you, Deputy Murphy.